Hi everybody, Rad Mom here. Welcome back to the office, which is actually my kid's room, but it's where my desk is. So welcome back to the desk, where we're going to be doing feminism from a materialist perspective today. Be sure and like the video if you enjoy my content, and subscribe to the channel so that we can all work together to drag feminism back into the real world. Yeah, because we need it. And today we have a lovely example of that. I don't remember what it is. Let's go find out. Oh yeah, this is fun. Today we have drag queens fighting back against armed protesters. AKA armed drag queens. I'm just not sure that anyone bringing guns into this fight is a good idea. That's like the fastest way to turn it into an actual fight.
All right, yeah, show me the spot.
All right. Well, this is my drag room. There's a lot going on here.
Show me the highlights. What are the highlights?
Some cosplay, Sailor Moon.
Okay, that is...
Jupiter.
Jupiter. There we go. I was going to say, that's not Moon, that's Jupiter.
Yes,
okay.
Jupiter's a little butch, so that's why I like her.
Okay, and I know that a lot of you find drag extremely distasteful. I completely understand that. A lot of times it can definitely feel like they are just mocking us. Personally, I've always loved a good drag queen because they can be hysterically funny and skewer so much about femininity that I hate and demonstrate by their very existence and how close they can appear to it, how little connection femininity actually has to womanhood. That to me is brilliant. They could demonstrate that all day and all night because femininity and womanhood, you know, I think one of them is inherent and the other is made up by a bunch of guys. And generally speaking, if someone enjoys dressing up in sparkly, spangly outfits and dresses and makeup and shit on its own, I find that pretty harmless. Like so many other things, it's the cultural context surrounding it that fucks it up, isn't it?
If you know the drag scene in San Antonio, then you know who this is. On any other night, Queen Fantasia might be getting ready for a performance or a karaoke night.
And this is my good old mirror that I stand in when am I ready to go?
But tonight, they're getting ready for something else. A group designated by the FBI as an extremist militia is coming to town to protest a drag show, and Fantasia wants a community to come out to face them.
See, and this is why I did not go. I didn't even go to the drag show they had here in town last year. I didn't even go. This was a big part of the reason why there are no winners. There's no winning team here. Because the one side, you know, wants children in on all of this stuff. And the other side is like fascists. So, no good either way.
Over the past few months, armed right-wing groups have repeatedly gathered outside drag events. And some venues that hosted shows have been attacked.
Like, I didn't know about any of this. I didn't realize they were escalating to violence over this. Over this? Really? I mean, I understand that conservative forces have always found men in dresses extremely offensive and subversive, but they're throwing firebombs over this? Really? With all the other shit that's going on? This is the thing that they're getting violent over? I'm not saying we need to get violent about anything, because we don't. But why is this the final? Why is this the straw? I don't understand.
It's the logical extension of a conspiracy theory that drag shows are some sort of LGBT plot to sexually abuse children.
Now, if you label something a conspiracy theory, you are just right off the bat not giving a very unbiased take on it, are you? So thanks for that. Why in the fuck would anybody want to take a kid to a drag show? Drag shows are pretty much inherently sexual. It's a man in women's clothes. So they're going to say something about that here in a minute. It's actually nice. It's actually pretty good.
It's now getting airtime on mainstream news channels.
The end goal is the normalization of pedophilia.
what? I would be a lot more skeptical about the end goal of anything being the normalization of pedophilia if we weren't hearing about maps all over Twitter lately. If there weren't really actually groups, organized, funded groups, special interest groups out there working to normalize maps. Yes! They're not drag queens. But I can totally understand how people might see that as two arms of the same front.
Things are tense in San Antonio because of this undercover footage from a local drag show, selectively edited by right-wing activists to make it look like a young girl was left unattended and being abused. This was a lie. The girl's mother was there, working as a food vendor.
The girl's mother was not with her. And, the girl should not have been there. She looks like she's like 7. Why in the fuck does she need to see men prancing around in short pants? Speaking as someone who saw that, it warps you.
But the facts didn't matter. The video went viral, and the club canceled all future drag shows.
When you ask somebody, what is it specifically that you have against drag shows existing? It's, well, we got to protect the kids.
Right.
Personally, I have nothing against drag shows existing in general. Actually, a good friend of mine for years and years has done them. As a man, she's a drag king. Which is fun. Yeah. I don't know, dressing up in costumes and prancing around playing a character on stage is fun. People do it for many different reasons all around the world. I object to children being taken to things that are intended for adults. Because children are not adults. They don't have that software upgrade yet. They cannot really understand a lot of these things. We know this. We were all kids once. This is basic shit.
How do you respond to that?
This is where parenting comes in. You have to choose what your child is ready to be exposed to. I would not take my child to Hooters or to Twin Peaks or to things like that because I see that as kind of sexual.
Yeah, no shit. Thank you. The fucking drag queen just said that if he had kids, he would not take them to this stuff because he sees it as kind of sexual. Yeah. Right. If he can say that, why can't anyone else? Why is this so controversial? Why is this even happening? Why is this a thing? Why are kid-friendly drag shows a thing? Why is anyone trying to make that a thing? Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. And apparently they're going to try and firebomb you and shoot you to keep it from happening. So, I don't know. Maybe take your kids to something else.
A drag queen is usually more covered up than we think because, one, let me show you something. These pads are what goes underneath 5 layers of tights. Girl, I'm not naked. So we are much more covered than most people think that we are.
Also, it's not about being covered up. It's literally about being a man in women's clothes. That's the titillating part. They had drag queens in the 19th century, okay, when everyone was covered from neck to ankle. It's about the gender swap. That's the part. That's the thing that makes it a thing. And that's why it makes adults go, ooh. And it just confuses children. It just confuses them.
We are not out here just going to schools and bringing a pole and dancing around in a 2-piece.
No, that's true. They're mostly going to public libraries and grinding on shares. I'm not sure how that's better. I guess that makes that a straw man. Sorry, honey.
There's just so many other things I could think of that are more harmful to our society and to our children growing up in that society than drag. You outside of a drag show with a gun is not going to help that child.
That's a good point. It's sort of just a whataboutism. There are a lot of other worse things. Well, yes, true, but that's not what we're talking about here. He does make the point, though, like bringing a gun to a drag show is not going to help the kid in the drag show. Is it? No. It makes you look like a big man, though. To some people.
When we were talking before I came out here, you were telling me that there was a possibility that some of y'all might be coming with guns.
Yeah.
Is that happening tonight?
Everyone's kind of scared about guns being involved in any kind of way, which I don't like guns at all. But it's like we have lost the patience to continue to play the game like they want us to play the game. You are telling us that you're going to come to yet another safe space, which is a drag show, and bring something to assault. We have to bring something to protect.
So now both sides feel justified in arming themselves for a confrontation over this. Because the fascists have decided that they must protect the children. And then the drag queens feel like they need to protect themselves. So now everyone's armed. Yay.
Oh yeah, we're going downtown.
Look, people didn't protest the war in Afghanistan like this, did they? This is insane.
We're here in front of the Aztec Theater where they're having a drag show in here tonight. And there's some protesters who showed up across the street, and they're saying that they're here to protest against pedophiles and child grooming and stuff like that.
Again, drag shows are intended for adults. It's not possible to groom children with something that they're not there for.
And then, of course, there's a bunch of people over here. It's a good 400 people partying, holding signs, and they are not having it.
There was one of those signs I wanted to see, I think.
Drag show in here. Partying, and then, of course, there's a bunch of people over here.
All I know is I came here to have a good time and share some pride. Are y'all feeling prideful? So let's show them what a drag show feels like, honey. Super bass.
There it is. Full LGBTQ rights now. What does that mean? Like, what is the deal with that? Which rights do they not have? The right to women's spaces? Because technically, I'm pretty sure they actually have that one.
The booming system, top down AC with the cooling system. When he come up in the club, he be blazing up. That stacks on that, like you said, and
Even among the party atmosphere, it was hard not to notice that a lot of the crowd did bring their guns.
Well, it is Texas.
I got my side piece, I got my AR,
Okay.
got the SKS.
Y'all came ready.
With no intention to use them, you're not gonna fear-monger us because you have weapons.
I feel like they like to show up at events with guns to intimidate people. They're using terror for political gains. They're
Yes, that's what terrorists do. Good job.
trying to incite people like the Colorado shooter to go kill us at our safe spaces.
Do you think people over here felt more comfortable knowing that there were people like y'all who were armed?
Yes, 100%. The entertainers feel safer with people who are on their side coming armed because they knew they would be.
I didn't want to give the wrong message, of course, but it's true though. Like, if they're gonna come with guns, then we should come with guns too.
Everybody loves their guns here, even the gays.
Even the gays love their guns in Texas. That's right. That's definitely the reputation that they have down there in Texas, the Lone Star State over there. But like, I feel like might be a special case in that way because I don't know about anybody else. I personally am not acquainted with anyone who owns an AR-15. That's nuts.
Queer lives are under attack. What do we do? What do we do?
Things did get tense out there, but there wasn't any real violence. Afterwards, Fantasia and some friends went back to a club they usually go to talk.
the amount of guns.
was crazy.
Did you see the guy with the shotgun?
I saw 4 ARs.
I know. I'm like, why do you have that? It's not necessary.
So these people are very sympathetic, right? They literally just want to put on some sparkly costumes and dance around. And these motherfuckers are showing up with AR-15s and they're trying to defend themselves. And if they aren't the sympathetic people in this situation, I don't know what to say. Boy, they left out a lot of context though, didn't they? Because drag queens are not trans people, are not gay people. Like, what the fuck? My understanding of it is that most men that enjoy wearing women's clothing are straight. That's been my understanding for a long time. And every pedophile case I've ever heard of was not a man who was a drag queen. Like, those two things, I feel like they just don't often go together. drag is not meant for children. So if you're a pedophile, you're probably not a drag queen, because there won't be any kids there. There shouldn't be any kids there. There never traditionally would have been. So making these little boys in dresses look so sympathetic is, of course, just another stirring of the pot. Because drag queens are trans people, are gay people, right? It's all the same fucking shit sandwich.
How did it feel for y'all being out there?
I feel really good about what we did. Like what happened with Club Q in Colorado, I was just very scared. I saw guys with shotguns and handguns. I mean, on both sides, you know, but still, it made me very uneasy.
This is something that's happening all over the U.S. right now, increasingly, more and more and more. This probably won't be the last time that somebody comes and protests a drag event in San Antonio.
And they did show a clip from Columbus, Ohio earlier, which is interesting because I used to live there for a little while. But I don't remember seeing any semi-automatic weapons in that clip. I wasn't looking, but I feel like I would have noticed that. I'm not sure that's really, like, I don't think you can legally carry an AR-15 on the street in Columbus, Ohio. I'm pretty sure that's not allowed.
Right, yeah.
What's next?
We're just going to continue. I mean, especially with the group that we've created for the protest, because there are people who will mobilize. As we saw today, there are people who will mobilize. We just have to know how to get the word out.
But so, like, to my eye, seeing somebody with that big black barrel over their shoulder like that says war zone. That's what that says to someone like me, who is not from Texas. I've literally driven through it, like, once. On the way back, we went a different way. Like, this to me looks so extreme. And I know that it's Texas and the context is a little different. I'm not sure how much though.
How to continue the momentum, because they're not gonna stop, but we're not gonna stop either. I'm not worried about that. So
continue the momentum. You mean this is going to continue to escalate? Wonderful. I can't imagine where it's gonna go. You know, both sides showing up with big ass guns. I can't imagine where that momentum might take us, can you? Yeah, so that's touching on a worrying trend. And like I say, personally, if a guy wants to wear a bunch of sparkly shit and dance around, I do not care. All he's doing is demonstrating how none of that shit has anything to do with being a woman at all. Which I'm totally fine with. And, you know, drag queens don't tend to think that they are women. They go to so much trouble to look like one that they're not delusional like that. They might be a different kind of kooky crazy, but they are not trans women. That's different. Because they don't think they're women. They know they're men. That's why they like to dress up as women. You know, is a woman dressing up as a woman is a pain in the ass. It feels redundant, frankly. Oh my gosh, I did feel like I was womaning wrong the other day, though. I literally got in my car without my purse, tried to start it. Yeah, it's a push button. And it just beeped at me. Because my keys were in my purse and it was in the house. I'm like, how did I even get in the car without my... So, you know, on the one hand, I kind of feel for these guys. Because they don't deserve to be menaced in this way. On the other hand, Vice, once again, is just stirring the fucking pot. Just, you know, sprinkling that pity on there. You know, and that is why people react so strongly in defense of trans people. It's because they are the civil rights cause of our time. Supposedly. And they have in their minds the gay rights movement and how much they struggled and how much violence and blowback there's been against that. And, you know, I'm feeling a little guilty, maybe. You know, it's a strong message, especially if you don't think about it. My problem is I came at it backwards. Technically, you would call me a detransitioner now. Although I never did anything medical because we're talking the aughts. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, guns are not the answer to these problems. Guns are not the answer. No. No. And the fact that it has come to this front of drag shows seems weird to me. It smells like a red herring, y'all. That's what it does. It smells like a big, fat powder keg of a red herring. Just don't take your kids to drag shows. They're not supposed to fucking be there. It's very simple. The drag queen even fucking said it.
I would not take my child to Hooters or to Twin Peaks or to things like that because I see that as kind of sexual.
And so it should be a moot point. It should be a very simple point to solve. And it's not the issue. It's not an yeah. The normalization of pedophilia is kind of an issue. And the transgender thing is definitely an issue. And this is what people are bringing guns for? This is what people are really amped up about? How in the fuck did that happen? I must be so completely out of the loop. Because I did definitely hear about these things going on. Wow, this is news to me that this was going on all over the country and they're just expecting it to escalate. And it's just more victimhood for the whole LGBTQ plus community. Half of whom are ephemeral. Because trans women do not exist. Drag queens do, and they don't deserve to be shot at. And they have nothing to do with trans people or gay people. Directly, anyway, we can... Some of them might be gay. Who knows? But it's not relevant to the subject at hand, because gay or straight, you can still wear a dress and shake your booty. And you still shouldn't have kids in the audience. So that's what I mean when I say they're separate things. Yeah, I wanted to cover this because it's been going on. It's been bubbling for so long. And my personal opinion, I know, is not the popular one. We're supposed to be against the woman face. And yeah, when it comes across as that, it is. It's horrible. But I love Tu Wong Fu. I do. That movie does not come across to me as woman face. Those guys are men. Them being men is central to the plot of the movie. They use femininity to express certain aspects of themselves. And again, demonstrate that it is applicable to anyone. Repeatedly. So, and that it can be fun. And that maybe that's what it's supposed to be. Or maybe that's what we could make it supposed to be. High heels are just downright oppressive. In my opinion, I hate them so much, but that's another rant for another day. So yeah, I don't know, I thought it was high time to just add my voice to the conversation and, maybe draw out some other opinions. Besides the two big ones. For and against. Okay? And have a little nuance. And a little sympathy, a little empathy. Nobody wants to have an AR-15 pointed at them. I don't think most people deserve that. Next week, we're going to be doing the video about radical feminism in parenting and child minding. We're going to be getting back to the meat of the subject matter. We're going to be getting back to our roots for real next week. But I did just want to touch on this because this blew me away. It's very frightening and it's completely irrelevant. So those two things kind of blew my mind. Thank you so much for joining me, Rad Mom, here at my desk. And I will be seeing y'all next time when we will be continuing to do feminism from a materialist perspective and trying to drag feminism back into the real world. Please like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel to get in on that. And I'll see you later. Bye.